Hello, everyone. Dave Prowse here with the tech question of the day for January 20th, 2017. Examine what we have here on the screen. What four potential security issues can you identify in this configuration? And I'll give you a moment to pause the video before I come back with the answer. Okay, and let's take a look here. There's a couple things that we need to take care of. This is a fairly insecure configuration. And the first thing that we see here is that we're using WPA. And it is recommended to use WPA2 over WPA, though that is not the worst of the offenders. WEP would be worse. Disabling security altogether would be the worst. But it's recommended to use WPA2 if at all possible. Most devices out there can handle it. And if they can't, you might be able to get a software update for them. So it's recommended to try that. But again, that's not the worst of the offenders listed here. The second one is we have TKIP. TKIP is considered outdated or deprecated for most technical scenarios. It should be replaced with AES or CCMP if necessary within your environment. And the Security Plus exam, it really focuses on some of these outdated protocols like WEP or TKIP, and even RC4, though that last one is debatable. So you want to try to stay away from TKIP if at all possible. Third, the password here is fairly weak. While it employs a certain level of complexity, it has uppercase letters and numbers, giving you 62 combinations per character. It is only 6 characters long. In fact, this password would not be accepted by this system. This system needs a minimum of 8 characters. And most organizations out there require 8 or 10 character passwords and possibly 15 characters for really super secure environments. As a side note, this password is showing up as plain text. If at all possible, you want to use systems and programs that allow for the display of asterisks or another symbol in the place of the actual characters. Or if you have to use this device and you're the only person administering this particular router, be sure that no one has viewing access of your screen when you enter the password, and consider a screen protector, which is a good idea in general for sysadmins. And fourth, if TKIP has to be used, then you could try changing the group key update period. It should be set to something. 0 is the default, which means that the key for the password is not updated. Setting this number to something such as, say, 3600 might be a good idea. That's a common practice so that the key updates every hour, thereby increasing security. Setting it to the minimum listed here of 30 seconds may not be recommended. That could cause some hiccups in the system. Now, keep in mind that TKIP in general has security issues concerning technologies such as 802.11n and others, so it should be avoided if at all possible. And another thing you might notice here is I'm using the default IP on this device, 192.168.0.1. Anybody knows that TP-Link devices use that as the default. And so that's something you might want to change as well. You could go as simple as changing the third octet. You could do 192.168.151 and then whatever number you want. Or you could go to a Class A or a Class B network number or classless and just change the whole thing. That's really up to you, and that's normally what I do. It's all internal, so as long as all the internal devices and computers coincide with the right network number and subnet mask, then you should be in good shape. Finally, a device such as this one may not be secure enough for your organization. Might be good for a small business, but this is something really to consider. While it can be obtained for under $100 or so, the possible lack of security and options might cause your company to pay the price in other ways. in security, in issues that could occur with that, productivity. So here's the problem. Many companies suffer from a lack of good IT equipment due to an outdated IT budget. They're really not spending enough on their IT budget. So, and then what you get is you have this outdated IT budget where you're not spending enough money on it. And because of that, you have these outdated protocols and hardware and software and so on. So basically, a good tech should find ways to encourage the budgeting decision makers, the people who decide on the IT budget, and encourage them and influence them to upgrade the company's technology once in a while. But basically here, what I would want to do is have it set to WPA2, AES, do a complex password, and memorize it, and maybe just cut and paste it from somewhere because you can't memorize. Are you going to memorize this? I don't know. Maybe. But whatever. You want a complex password, and you know what I mean. Like I say, 8 to 10 characters. And, one I use sometimes is something like this. Looks like a word, sort of. 16 characters or thereabouts, and uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols as well, or at least one symbol. So something secure, and consider using the group key update period, though I usually don't for small businesses and just leave that to 0. Most devices can handle WPA2 and AES, and again, if they can't, there might be a software update to help them to do so, or firmware update. And if not, you may really want to consider updating those devices, getting new devices, whether it's a mobile device or laptop or whatever. Because most devices that have been made over the past 10 years can handle this. So that's really something to consider. So that's your answers for the tech question of the day. I'm Dave Prowse. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at my website, www.davidlprowse.com.